This for you.
Oh, thank you.
You can sit down over here.
Gracias.
90-Day Fiance, star Pedro Jimeno room date with his girlfriend Nallely. Finally, Nallely pregnant. Nallely is about to give birth to a new baby. She expecting baby girl. I will explain everything. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we've got something truly special for you. A deep dive into the life of Pedro Jimeno, the fan favorite star from 90-Day Fiancé, and his incredible journey with his girlfriend, Nallely. If you followed Pedro's story, you know he's been through a lot. Cultural clashes, family drama, and a highly publicized divorce from Chantal Everett. But today, we're not dwelling on the past. Instead, we're celebrating a beautiful new chapter in Pedro's life, one filled with love, hope, and the imminent arrival of a baby girl. For those who need a quick refresher, Pedro first captured our hearts on 90-Day Fiancé when he moved from the Dominican Republic to the United States to be with Chantal. Their relationship was a roller coaster, and after years of ups and downs, they parted ways. Since then, Pedro has been focusing on himself, building a successful career in real estate, and finding his footing in Atlanta. And that's where Nallely comes in, a talented interior designer who's about to change Pedro's life forever. In this video, we're taking you through their love story, from their very first date to the moment they found out Nallely was pregnant, and now, as they stand just days away from welcoming their daughter into the world. It all started in early 2023 at the Atlanta Real Estate Expo, a bustling event where industry pros gather to network and share ideas. Pedro, now a thriving real estate agent, was invited as a keynote speaker. Dressed in a sleek navy suit, he took the stage with confidence, delivering a passionate talk about sustainable urban development. His charm and expertise lit up the room, but one person in particular couldn't take her eyes off him: Nallely. Nallely, an interior designer with a knack for turning houses into homes, was seated in the front row, scribbling notes and nodding along. She turned off Pedro through his TV fame, but was more impressed by his insights than his celebrity status. After his speech, she made her way through the crowd to introduce herself. "I loved your take on sustainable design," she said, her voice warm and genuine. Pedro flashed his signature smile and replied, "Thanks, that means a lot. What do you do in the industry?" That simple exchange sparked a conversation that stretched well past the event's closing remarks. They talked about everything: architecture, their favorite projects, even their shared love for vibrant cultures. Nallely mentioned her recent trip to Paris, where she'd fallen in love with the city's blend of history and innovation. Pedro countered with tales of the Dominican Republic's beaches and the rhythm of merengue music. Before they knew it, the conference hall was emptying out, and Pedro took a chance. "Hey, would you like to grab dinner sometime? I'd love to keep this going," he asked. Nallely didn't hesitate. "I'd like that," she said, her smile matching his. A few days later, they met at Bella Vita, a cozy Italian spot in Atlanta known for its candlelit ambience and killer pasta. Pedro arrived first, a little nervous but excited, wearing a crisp white shirt that showed off his warm complexion. Nallely walked in wearing a flowy dress, her confidence and grace catching his eye immediately. They ordered a bottle of red wine and started with small talk that quickly turned personal. "So, what's your favorite place you've ever been?" Pedro asked, leaning in. Nallely thought for a moment. "Paris, hands down. The architecture, the food, it's magical." "You?" Pedro grinned. "The Dominican Republic. Nothing beats the feeling of home. The sun, the music, the people." They laughed, discovering they both had a passion for travel and a deep connection to their roots. Over plates of spaghetti carbonara and tiramisu, they shared stories about their lives. Pedro's journey on 90-Day Fiancé, Nallely's childhood in a tight-knit family, and their dreams for the future. As the night wound down, Pedro walked Nallely to her car. "I had a great time tonight," he said, his voice soft. "Me too," she replied, looking up at him. There was a pause, the kind where you can feel something shifting, and then Pedro leaned in for a gentle kiss. It was quick, sweet, and left them both smiling. That first date wasn't just a meal, it was the beginning of something real. From that first kiss, Pedro and Nallely were inseparable. They started spending every spare moment together, building a relationship grounded in trust, laughter, and shared goals. Their weekends became a mix of adventure and relaxation, hiking in the North Georgia mountains, sipping coffee at local cafes, or just binge-watching shows on Pedro's couch. They clicked in a way that felt effortless, like two puzzle pieces finally finding their fit. One of their early standout dates was a weekend trip to Savannah. They drove down in Pedro's Jeep, windows open, music blaring, Pedro's playlist heavy on Dominican beats, Nallely adding some indie vibes. In Savannah, they wandered through cobblestone streets, hand in hand, marveling at the historic homes draped in Spanish moss. At a seafood shack by the river, they shared a basket of shrimp and fries, talking about their pasts. Pedro opened up about his time on 90 Day Fiancé, the pressure, the scrutiny, the lessons. It was tough, he admitted, but it taught me what I really want in life. Nallely listened, then shared her own story growing up with parents who worked hard to give her opportunities, inspiring her creative drive. Back in Atlanta, their bond deepened through everyday moments. Nallely would stop by Pedro's office with lunch, homemade empanadas, or a sandwich from her favorite deli, just to see him smile. Pedro, in turn, surprised her with flowers or little notes tucked into her sketchbooks. They started collaborating too, Pedro showing Nallely properties he was selling, Nallely sketching design ideas to bring them to life. "We're a team," Pedro would say, and Nallely would nod, feeling the truth of it. About 6 months in, on a quiet evening at home, something shifted. They were on their balcony, watching the sun dip below the skyline, a warm breeze rustling the trees. Pedro turned to Nallely, his eyes soft. "You know, I think I'm falling in love with you," he said, his voice steady but vulnerable. Nallely's heart skipped a beat. "I feel the same way, Pedro," she replied, stepping closer. They kissed, longer this time, and it was like a promise, a commitment to whatever came next. From there, love became their foundation. They met each other's families, Pedro's mom, Lydia, welcoming Nallely with a big hug and a plate of sancocho. Nallely's parents hosting Pedro for a barbecue, impressed by his charm. Friends noticed the change too. "Pedro's different with her," his buddy Marcus said. "He's happier, more himself." And Nallely, she'd tell anyone who'd listen, "He's my person." By spring 2024, Pedro and Nallely had been together for over a year, and their relationship was rock solid. They talked about the future plenty, where they'd live, places they'd travel, but one topic kept coming up: kids. Both wanted a family, not just someday, but soon. Pedro, shaped by his tight-knit Dominican upbringing, dreamed of being a dad, teaching his kids to dance, sharing his culture. Nallely, who'd always pictured a house full of laughter, felt the same pull. One night, over a home-cooked dinner of pollo guisado and rice, they got serious. "What if we started trying for a baby?" Pedro asked, setting down his fork. Nallely looked at him, surprised but thrilled. "You mean now?" she said, a smile creeping in. "Yeah, why not? I love you, you love me. We're ready," he replied, reaching for her hand. They talked it through, how they'd balance work, what kind of parents they'd be. And by the end of the night, they were on the same page. "Let's do it," Nallely said, and Pedro pulled her into a hug, both of them laughing with excitement. They didn't waste time. In the weeks that followed, they tracked ovulation, made time for each other, and let nature take its course. Then, in late June 2024, Nallely started feeling tired, a little queasy. She brushed it off at first, but when the symptoms lingered, she grabbed a pregnancy test from the drugstore. Alone in their bathroom, she watched as 2 pink lines appeared. Her hands shook as she whispered, "Oh my gosh, she was pregnant." Nallely wanted to tell Pedro in a special way. That evening, she cooked his favorite meal, mango with salami and eggs, and set the table with extra care. After they ate, she handed him a small gift box. "What's this?" he asked, curious. "Open it," she said, biting her lip. Inside was the positive test and a pair of tiny white baby shoes. Pedro stared for a second, then jumped up, eyes wide. "We're having a baby?" he shouted, pulling Nallely into his arms. "Yes, we are," she laughed, tears streaming down her face. They danced around the kitchen, overwhelmed with joy, already imagining their little one. Nallely's pregnancy kicked off with a whirlwind of emotions. The first few weeks were a blur of excitement and nerves. They booked a doctor's appointment right away, and at 6 weeks, they saw their baby for the first time, a tiny flickering heartbeat on the ultrasound screen. Pedro squeezed Nallely's hand, tears in his eyes. "That's our kid," he whispered. The doctor smiled. "Everything looks perfect." They left with a grainy black and white photo, their first glimpse of the future. But pregnancy wasn't all smooth sailing. Morning sickness hit Nallely hard, nausea that lasted all day, exhaustion that made her nap on the couch mid-afternoon. Pedro stepped up big time. He'd wake up early to make her ginger tea, rub her back when she felt sick, and even research foods to ease her symptoms. "You're my hero," she'd say, half joking, half serious, and he'd wink, "Anything for you and our baby." By the second trimester, things eased up. Nallely got her energy back, and they started enjoying the little milestones. At 12 weeks, they heard the heartbeat, a fast, steady thump that made them grin like kids. At 16 weeks, Nallely felt the first flutters, like butterflies in her belly. She grabbed Pedro's hand one night, pressing it to her stomach. "Wait for it," she said. A tiny kick followed, and Pedro's jaw dropped. "She's moving. She's really in there," he exclaimed, laughing in awe. The 20-week ultrasound was the big one. They'd find out the gender. Lying on the exam table, Nallely watched the screen as the tech moved the wand. "Looks like a girl," the tech said, pointing out little legs and arms. Pedro's face lit up. "A girl? We're having a daughter?" he said, voice cracking. Nallely nodded, tears spilling over. "Our little princess," she murmured. They left with more photos, already dreaming of pink onesies and bows. Throughout the pregnancy, Pedro was Nallely's rock. He went to every appointment, took birthing classes with her, and read What to Expect When You're Expecting cover to cover. They started a baby journal too, jotting down dates, feelings, and funny moments, like when Nallely craved pickles and ice cream at 2 a.m., and Pedro ran to the store without a second thought. "I'm whipped," he'd joke, but the love in his eyes said it all. As Nallely's belly grew, so did their excitement. By the 3rd trimester, they were in full nesting mode, turning a spare room into a nursery. Pedro tackled the heavy lifting, assembling a white crib, painting the walls a soft blush pink, and hanging a starry mobile above the changing table. Nallely brought her design magic, picking out curtains with a floral print, a plush rug, and a rocking chair where they'd cuddle their girl. "It's perfect," Pedro said, stepping back to admire their work. "She's going to love it," Nallely agreed, resting a hand on her bump. Choosing a name took time. They wanted something meaningful, tied to their heritage and hopes. Pedro suggested Sofia, after his grandmother, but Nallely leaned toward Isabella, a name she'd loved since she was a kid. "It means devoted to God," she explained, "and it's got that Latin flair we both love." Pedro tried it out, Isabella Jimeno, and it clicked. "That's her," he said, and they sealed it with a kiss. They stocked up on essentials: diapers, wipes, tiny clothes with ruffles and hearts. Friends threw them a baby shower in October 2024, a little princess theme with pink balloons and a crown-shaped cake. Pedro's mom, Lydia, flew in from the Dominican Republic, bringing a handmade blanket and a speech that left everyone teary. "You're going to be an amazing father, Mijo," she said, hugging Pedro tight. Nallely's parents gifted a stroller, and the room overflowed with love and gifts. Pedro started a nightly ritual, reading to the baby. He'd sit by Nallely's side, a book in hand, his deep voice recounting tales of brave princesses or silly animals. "You're going to be a smart one, Isabella," he'd say, patting Nallely's belly. Nallely would watch, heart full, knowing their daughter was already so loved. Now, in late 2024, Nallely is 39 weeks pregnant, and the due date is any day. Her belly's round and heavy, her waddle adorable, and Pedro's on high alert. Hospital bag packed, car seat installed. They've taken birthing classes, practiced breathing techniques, and Pedro's ready to coach her through labor. "I've got your back," he tells her, and she believes him. The past few weeks have been a mix of nerves and thrill. Nallely's nesting has kicked into overdrive folding onesies, triple-checking supplies while Pedro's been playing lullabies on his guitar, hoping Isabella will recognize his voice. They had false alarms, Braxton Hicks contractions, that sent them scrambling, only to laugh it off later. "She's keeping us on our toes already," Nallely says, rubbing her belly. Their families are buzzing too. Lydia's staying in Atlanta, cooking meals and praying for a smooth delivery. Nallely's mom calls daily, offering tips from her own pregnancies. Friends drop by with casseroles and well wishes, and Pedro's sister Nicole promises to spoil her niece rotten. "I can't wait to meet her," Nicole says, grinning. Pedro's been reflecting a lot lately. "I never thought I'd be here," he admits one night, lying beside Nallely. "After everything with Chantal, I wondered if I'd get this chance again. But you and Isabella, you're my second shot at happiness." Nallely squeezes his hand. "We're your forever," she says, and they drift off, dreaming of the moment they'll hold their girl. Pedro Jimeno's journey from 90-day fiancé fame to this quiet, joyful life with Nallely is nothing short of inspiring. That first date at Bella Vita led to a love that's weathered challenges and bloomed into a family. Now, as Nallely prepares to give birth, they're on the cusp of meeting Isabella, their daughter, their legacy, their everything. Picture it, any day now, they'll be in the delivery room, Nallely, strong and determined, pushing through labor. Pedro, by her side, holding her hand, whispering encouragement. Then, the cry, a tiny, perfect sound, and Isabella's here, wrapped in a blanket. Placed in their arms, Pedro will cry, Nallely will laugh through tears, and they'll look at each other, knowing they've built something beautiful. This isn't just a story of a reality star finding love again. It's about resilience, about choosing happiness, about two people who met by chance and decided to make a life together. From that Atlanta expo to the nursery they've poured their hearts into, Pedro and Nallely have shown what love can do. And soon, Isabella will be the proof. A little girl born into a world of adoration. Thanks for joining us for this 11,000+ word journey. If you're as excited as we are for Pedro, Nallely, and Isabella, hit that like button. Drop a comment with your baby name guesses. More update. 90-day fiance's Pedro Jimeno reveals unexpected relationship update amid Sophie Sierra romance rumors after Chantal split. And looks just like Chantal, 90-day fiance's Pedro Jimeno introduces Chantal lookalike GF after divorce. Pedro Jimeno and Sophie Sierra seemingly dating after her rumored split from Rob Warren. And the family Chantal. Pedro Jimeno's new family member proves he's not the villain, but how? I will explain everything. 90-day fiance's Pedro Jimeno reveals unexpected relationship update amid Sophie Sierra romance rumors after Chantal split. The 90-day fiancé franchise's Pedro Jimeno recently responded to claims that he was dating Sophie Sierra in a mysterious manner. Pedro moved to the US first to wed Chanel Everett, who is now his ex-wife. He requested a divorce after 6 years of marriage. After the split in 2022, Pedro turned his attention to pursuing his American dream through a real estate job. Significant accomplishments have been made by Pedro in the last 2 years, including getting a fancy car and getting fitter. He has also been quite successful in real estate, rising to the top of his company's production for 3 years in a row. In March 2025, Pedro stirred stories of a possible romance with Sophie, his co-star from 90-Day Fiancé, who is now married to Rob Warren. Because Pedro and Sophie shared mysterious Instagram stories, followers conjectured that Pedro was dating Sophie and visiting her in Austin, Texas. Pedro, nevertheless, seems to have since denied having a romantic relationship with Sophie. Through the account, Vinny_and_Mimi, he shared a video titled Single with 2 Cats and No Kids at 30 Be Like, which featured a man eating while strolling down the street. Walking on a Dream by Empire of the Sun was featured in the video, and the lyrics reaffirmed Pedro's message of being unmarried. Because he could relate to the video, Pedro reposted it on his Instagram story. In his early 30s, he is childless and has 2 black cats. Pedro, who is still unmarried, takes pride in the life he has established in the US. He relishes every accomplishment and the small things in life. Pedro probably wants to clear up any confusion among his admirers by stating unequivocally that he is not dating Sophie. Pedro wishes to share this message in order to reiterate that he is single and content with his life as a cat dad. Although Pedro's message makes it clear that he is unmarried, it doesn't say anything about his relationship with Sophie. He might have been seeing his British co-star till lately. He might have discovered they weren't compatible after spending some time with her. Pedro has repeatedly expressed his wish to delay having children rather than do so soon. On the other hand, despite her infertility problems, Sophie seemed anxious to have children. Once they realized they had different goals, they may have opted to end their relationship after dating for a period. It's also possible that Pedro is using his message to present himself as unmarried. There is a remote possibility that he is still seeing Sophie, but he might rather not mention it until a possible spin-off appearance. Pedro and Sophie might appear in a future spin-off of 90 Day Fiancé. In order to prevent giving away their impending TV voyage, they may be attempting to keep their tale unknown. Veronica Rodriguez and Jamal Menzies, 2 former cast members of the 90 Day Fiancé franchise, employed similar strategies. Looks just like Chantal, 90 Day Fiancé's Pedro Jimeno introduces Chantal lookalike GF after divorce. The new girlfriend of 90 Day Fiancé star Pedro Jimeno has been revealed on Instagram, and many viewers are quick to notice that she looks a lot like his ex-wife, Chantal Everett. Pedro, who came to the US on a K-1 visa from the Dominican Republic, wed Chantal in 2016. Pedro and his wife had a rocky marriage due to cultural differences, competing life objectives, and marital strife. Pedro tried to fix the relationship, but in 2022 he chose to end it. After Pedro and Chantal finalized their divorce in 2023, they continued living their lives as separate entities. Pedro has now posted a photo of his new girlfriend from their trip, suggesting that they have recently entered a committed relationship. The Instagram story of Pedro's new girlfriend, who looks a lot like Chantal, was screenshotted and shared by 90 Day Fiancé Update. A user named Melissa Chavez Varia 39 even went so far as to say, looks just like Chantal. Melissa Monroe said, "Best of luck, Chantal." Despite Pedro's lack of social media confirmation of his relationship status, reports have it that he brought his new girlfriend to the Dominican Republic to meet his sister Nicole Jimeno and mother Lydia Morel. Following the tragic end of his romance with Chantal, it is heartwarming to see Pedro now in a devoted partnership. According to the new images, Pedro clearly has a choice when it comes to romantic partners, which could explain his attraction to Chantal. His new girlfriend Chantal looks a lot like Pedro, which means that his past relationships weren't about a lack of attractiveness. It's likely that he was smitten with Chantal's beauty at first, but that the stress and strain of his family problems caused him to lose interest in her. It appears like Pedro is making the correct move by inviting his new girlfriend to meet his family now that he has moved on. He is determined to learn from his past relationship's flaws. So it's likely that he would like his new spouse to meet his family first to assess their compatibility. The next few months will reveal a lot about Pedro's new connection. Unlike Chantal, his new girlfriend should be able to win over his family and establish a solid bond with them. It's no wonder Pedro has feelings for a woman who looks like Chantal. Nonetheless, it's intriguing that he's choosing to come clean about his current relationship now, 3 years after his last one ended. It appears that Pedro has allowed himself time to recover from his broken marriage and go on with his life. Unlike Pedro, who has opted out of reality TV, Chantal has been on the show for numerous seasons, casually dating various people. Despite keeping his love life under wraps, the 90 Day Fiancé franchise star has developed a deep bond with his new fiancée, going so far as to introduce her to his family. Pedro Jimeno's new girlfriend looks shockingly familiar. But why? The family's Pedro Jimeno, his new girlfriend, looks eerily like his famous ex-wife, and Chantal couldn't be more shocked. Pedro, originally from the Dominican Republic, became famous in the reality television industry with his marriage to Chantal Everett in the 4th season of 90 Day Fiancé. Pedro and Chantal starred in a spin-off because their families were known to quarrel anytime they were together. These marital problems stemmed from Pedro and Chantal's divergent life aspirations and disagreements among their families. Pedro grew increasingly unsupportive as Chantal pursued her goal of becoming a nurse. Their lives were turned upside down when Pedro achieved success in real estate and began to meet new people, find his freedom, and make friends. Pedro decided to get a divorce 6 years down the road. Season 4 of The Family Chantal saw the beginning of the end for Pedro and Chantal's marriage. After deciding to put his real estate profession ahead of their relationship, Pedro emotionally distanced himself by frequently arriving home late. As he accused Chantal of being unmotivated and sluggish, and she felt abandoned, tensions rose. As the emotional distance between them deepened throughout their marriage, they were unable to communicate with one another and began to blame one another. After 6 years of marriage, Pedro formally requested a divorce in May 2022, stating that he and his wife could not be reconciled. A restraining order request was also included in the file, which was made by both parties. Chantal was said to have stolen more than $250,000 from their joint account, according to court filings. They broke up in front of the world because the personal and financial drama they were going through made reconciliation impossible. As Pedro developed an exceptionally strong bond with his co-worker Antonella at his real estate firm job, rumors of adultery started circulating. People watching Pedro's show noted that he was staying out late more frequently and working more hours. On The Family Chantal, Chantal voiced her displeasure with his coldness and secrecy, as well as her doubts about his fidelity. Pedro may not have come clean about cheating, but his supporters were certain he crossed the line. Pedro denied any wrongdoing when Chantal found Antonella's name on his car keys and raised suspicions about their relationship. But rumors circulated due to his icy demeanor and lack of openness. Even though there was no hard evidence of an affair, many viewers still think that Pedro's friendship with his co-worker was a big reason his marriage ended. Spotted in Atlanta in the middle of February 2025, Pedro and Sophie, who was once of 90 Day Fiancé, were the subject of romance rumors. Fans noticed that Sophie's Valentine's Day posts were quite similar to Pedro's, who appeared in matching attire and accessories on Sophie's Mystery Man, leading some to speculate that the two were dating. Neither of them, though, made the relationship official. Doubts were further fueled when Pedro and Sophie shared Instagram stories from the same places and events, such as a supper at Austin's British Music Embassy and matching car interiors. After Pedro posted a mysterious single with 2 cats video, which some took as a hint at a brief romance, fans were eager to draw conclusions. There have been dating rumors circulating, but neither star has commented on them. Pedro posted a story in June 2025 that included an unidentified woman. According to 90 Day Fiancé breaking news, the woman in the story wore huge sunglasses and covered her face with her phone, while Pedro wore a white t-shirt. While in the air, Pedro and his girlfriend took the selfie. According to the blogger, Pedro was taking her to the Dominican Republic by plane. Pedro was escorting the woman to meet his mother and sister. In the story, he included her Instagram handle, Nallely_23. Additionally, Pedro shared news of his new girlfriend in an Instagram post that was mirrored from TVS show Says. This photo of the woman was taken from her Instagram account, but apparently she erased it. The woman's bio allegedly said, Miss Awkward International, according to Pedro's source. On the other hand, viewers of The Family Chantal believe that Pedro's new love interest looks a lot like his former. 90 Day Fiancé's Pedro Jimeno and Sophie Sierra seemingly dating after her rumored split from Rob Warren. With Pedro Jimeno, another franchise personality, actress Sophie Sierra appears to have moved on from her reported breakup with Rob Warren. Following the appearance of some hints on their Instagram stories over the weekend, astute 90-day followers conjectured that Sophie, 26, and Pedro, 33, might be dating. The real estate agent was seen wearing light-washed, torn jeans and black and white sneakers in one video posted to his Instagram stories on March 7. Sophie's Texas home, the Oasis, Lake Travis, Austin, is the address he marked. A video showing the UK native driving a car with an unidentified male behind the wheel was posted on her own Instagram stories. But his legs were in plain sight, and he seemed to be dressed in Pedro's exact pair of pants and shoes. She captioned the photo, saying, "I love road trips." Among 90-Day Fiancé franchise fans, the couple created quite a stir. Following an Instagram blog post on the dating myth, 90 Day the Melanated Way, people poured their opinions and worries into the comments section. One person commented, "I hope this isn't true," while another fan added, "Dating in the 90-Day franchise isn't healing, girl." A third person said, "There is no way that a disaster is coming." One person wrote, "They're both a great match," indicating that some fans weren't upset about the potential romantic relationship. Another fan commented, "I think they look cute together, to be honest." Pedro and Sophie are thought to have gone out together after the influencer and Rob, 33, allegedly broke up after filming season 2 of 90 Day, The Last Resort, which is currently playing on TLC. According to 90 Day Fiancé blogger Shabuti, Rob was seeing Jennifer Tarazona, a fellow franchise member, in October 2024. After a month, Sophie said in an Instagram reel that she was in her celibate era, implying that she was unmarried. Additionally, Sophie recently said on The Last Resort that a friend discovered Rob on a dating app when they were at the couple's treatment retreat, leading her to publicly criticize him in a series of Instagram stories posts. Using a screenshot of his dating page, she commented on February 11, "Kit, I have time today, since this man wants to keep lying to people and making me look bad. I literally found him on this dating profile while attending a marriage retreat." She said, "This is the real reason I first left when he pushed me into a table, because I was trying to break up with him, because I was scared of him." Included a picture of her allegedly wounded eyebrow in another post. "I still have a scar from the necessary stitches on my eyebrow." Rob, she further said, flung things at her and threw her goods in the trash, leaving her without money and without belongings. "For necessities, I had to beg as well. For my peace, I can't do it anymore," Sophie added. "I have been silent for years, sheltering him, and it has made me look like the insane person who didn't care. The reason I took so long to disclose the evidence was to protect my mental health, since I never intended to expose Rob in this way, because I don't want everyone to despise him." Rob, who with Sophie in a February 2024 episode of 90 Day Fiancé, responded to her allegations by posting on his personal Instagram stories, saying, "Believe half of what you see and don't believe everything you hear. Oh my God, what an tea show." Pedro has a long history with the 90 Day Fiancé franchise. He first appeared on season 4 of the main series in 2016, alongside his ex-girlfriend Channel Everett. In addition to appearing on 90 Day Fiancé, Happily Ever After, and their own spin-off series, The Family Channel, the ex-couple were married that year. In 2022, Pedro and 34-year-old Chantal finally got divorced. The Family Channel. Pedro Jimeno's new family member proves he's not the villain. But how? Even though Pedro Jimeno was portrayed as the antagonist on The Family Channel, his new family member shows that he was never the terrible man. The reality TV personality's behavior of Chantal Everett, who he initially met on season 4 of 90 Day Fiancé, has always given him a dubious image. Pedro met Chantal in his native Dominican Republic, where they later got married. They relocated to Chantal's Georgia hometown, where their relationship suffered greatly due to their family dynamic. But the majority of the blame for their marital issues was typically placed on Pedro. Pedro arrived in the US with the intention of pursuing the American dream and providing for his family, and Chantal gradually lost significance. His contacts with Laura Delgado and a co-worker, Antonella Baranecchie, led to him being accused of adultery shortly after he joined her real estate company. Pedro made it apparent that he no longer cared about his marriage to Chantal, even if he disputed the accusations of infidelity. But after the Family Chantal Season 5, it's evident that he's ready to let go of his nasty persona after establishing himself in America. Pedro recently posted a video on Instagram of his new family member, a black cat, who likes to peruse its kingdom from the top of the cabinets. "Black cats are different," he said as the caption, showcasing a cute black cat relaxing in the kitchen. Supportive comments such as "truth, but they're the best," and "yes they are," accompanied by a crying laughing emoji, were left by fans. Although fans used to be furious with Pedro, it appears that they have softened as he has distanced himself from the show. Black cats are different. A man who is committed to a cat demonstrates confidence and security in his manhood, as cats are generally connected with femininity. Pedro demonstrates his gentle sides and commitment preparedness by welcoming a new family member. Taking care of an animal is a great responsibility, but Pedro has shown that he is capable. In addition, black cats are particularly distant, which adds to Pedro's decision's enlightening qualities. Stories that were freely circulated among Chantal's relatives served as the basis for Pedro's unjust villainization. Karen Everett expressed her belief that Pedro was exploiting Chantal to obtain a green card right away. Pedro stated that he truly loved her and wanted to make a marriage work, albeit it's unclear if this is genuine. Pedro fought with Chantal's brother and had issues with almost every member of her family. Pedro and Chantal's relationship was doomed to fail because of their animosity. In addition, Pedro's sister Nicole Jimeno and mother Lydia Morel were the true antagonists of the family Chantal. In the Dominican Republic, Lydia publicly hated Chantal and pushed her son to help them since she obviously wanted her 15 minutes of fame. Even horrible than Lydia was Nicole. She wanted to be like Chantal, but she also detested her. Pedro's sister, a Dominican Republic beauty queen, made fun of Chantal's appearance while undergoing operations and cosmetic procedures that resembled Chantal's appearance. The family members of Pedro and Chantal were the true antagonists in the family Chantal. They set the married couple against one another. Instead of presenting a united front during conflicts, each took the side of their family. Chantal wasn't entirely innocent, but Pedro wasn't either. Pedro obviously needs a reality TV program of his own. Even if they aren't the most likable cast members, Lydia and Nicole should ideally occasionally appear to round out the ensemble because they are well known. The ideal focus would be Pedro's real estate career, so Laura and Antonella might also show there. Since reality TV programs like Selling Sunset are so well liked, a real estate spin would be ideal for getting Pedro back on TV without Chantal. A real estate-themed reality TV program would be the ideal platform for Pedro to restore his damaged reputation. Pedro is deserving of the opportunity to shine without Chantal. Through his relocation to the United States, professional development, and the addition of a new family member, he has demonstrated that progress is achievable. Pedro and his new black kitten might be able to salvage his villain edit following a turbulent tenure as the antagonist on the family Chantal and 90 Day Fiancé. No more today. What are you thinking about this gossip today? Let us know in the comments, and stay tuned by subscribing to our channel to get more updates like this. Thank you.